All right, guys, what is going on? Back at it early again for pre-market prep. So we're gonna go ahead and get ready to take on the day. Now it's a half day today, July 3rd. So be aware of that. We won't be on this long, probably about an hour, hour and a half or so. But we can kind of just go ahead and get ready for the day. You know, Obviously you want to just go run through the checklist of what you need to be in the market, prepared to do today. So let's just kind of hit, the nail on the head here with everything. So obviously, come into the market, make sure everything is loaded up, and update it because you're gonna have probably software updates and stuff like that over the night. So make sure all that's good to go. As you can see, I got everything loaded up here. Now, obviously, because we're doing this live and everything, I'm gonna probably just have a few screens open. Those of you that have the course like that, you know what other things I have ready for the morning. But I'm just gonna be flipping through like the main screens here for you guys. But mainly, what you want to do first, foremost, after you do your normal routine, however it is, you do whatever you do, whether making some coffee, grabbing something to eat, whatever. I've been up for like 2 hours now. Just kind of looking at the market, and I do a little bit of a workout and stuff like that. But again, that just kind of gets me in my routine for the morning. Um, so I want to just kind of run through that little checklist here before the market opens. We got about a good, you know, what is it, 5:40? So we got about a good hour, about 50 minutes or so until the market opens. Enough time for me to just kind of recap everything that we need to be doing and getting us ready to attack on the day. Currently, I'm not in any trade in pre-market. Um, already there were some opportunities if you were in, RVN, if you were in RMED, PLM is popping, and PRFXX looks pretty decent too. I mean, those are pretty much the only ones I'm looking at so far, but we'll see as, we get closer into, the opening bell. But I'm not in any position yet. I am looking at PRFX, if you can kind of see this here. You know, that's one of the main ones I'm looking at right now, just because of where it's at and the volume that's trying to pick up in it. Everything else is just kind of on the radar, but I'm not in any position yet. So, but again, before we get into all this, let's just kind of run through the checklist of what we need to do this morning to kind of get ourselves ready for the day. All right. So first and foremost, make sure is everything up, right? So make sure all your applications are loaded up, everything is good to go. Now, once we do that, let's go ahead and look at like the state of the market and where we're at. If you want to check the futures market and everything to see where the market's currently at, right now we got a bit of a mix. Um, so, obviously that's kind of expected depending on, I mean, based on the fact that it's going to be a half day today and, the way markets ended on Friday, but, kind of a mixed market. So we're not really leaning more towards bullish or bearish. It's kind of just in the middle. All right, so that's where the overall market is at. And then of course, if you want to break it down to sectors and look at certain things like whether you want to look at the Nasdaq, S&P, Dow Jones, whatever you want to look at what those markets are looking like. That's perfectly fine too. So we kind of know where the state of the market is now. A little bit of a mix. Now let's kind of take a look and see what it could potentially hold for us throughout the day. We're going to look at the economic calendars, basically what's coming up for the day. If any like anticipated IPOs are coming up, any companies reporting revenues, any dividends being reported, things like that that could potentially affect the market with larger, stocks or even some news about them, because again, that does help move the market as well too, the psychological aspect of it. So looking at the calendar, I don't really see much of anything. Those of you guys that had the course, what systems and software we're using to check this. Again, open up the trading app. So as far as the economic calendar, shows pretty much nothing's being, happening today. I mean, we got a few dividends being reported from some other companies here. Um, One IPO from PAPL. And then we got what here? We got a revenue reporting from WJO. That's pretty much it. Not much happening today, as you can see on the calendar. Um, so there's that. So that's kind of where the overall market picture is at. Okay. Now that we kind of got the grasp of where we're at with everything today, let's go ahead and focus on the stocks that we're focusing on from the watch list last night. Um, and again, this is just part of your checklist. Obviously, if you were up earlier beforehand when the market opened at 4 a.m., You probably already looked at some of these things, and as of right now, none of these are interesting. They still could move a little bit, during the opening bell, but as of right now, they're not really on my radar like that anymore. But let's kind of take a look and see, you know, what we were looking at on the watch list that we had posted last night. Let me see if I can scroll up here to it and get to it for you guys. Boom, there we go. Now it might run a little bit slow, of course, because I'm recording. Oh, there it is. All right, so one of the main watches we were looking at was RNLX, just because of, I mean, we banked on it Friday. So obviously, if you got in it, good time to take profits, of course, when the pre-market opened. Then you got VIBI. I was looking at that as well, too. Again, both of those, not much movement. Then you got some smaller ones right here to kind of put on the back burners. Right now, SQZ is the only one that's running. So that's, pretty much what we're going to be looking at as far as the stocks. Here's VIB, VBIV. Again, not looking that great. It's kind of choppy. RNLX. I think I took that off because it wasn't really much to look at, but let me pull it up here. Again, same thing, not much volume there. And then, of course, SQZ is right here. Had a little bit of a pop right here in pre-market, so obviously we're in it. Good take. I'd take profits right now anyways and wait for the opening bell. But again, I don't trade sub-dollar stocks like that, so oops, sorry. So that's pretty much that. But yeah, so that's where we're overall looking at our current, stocks that are on our radar now, aside from the ones that popped up on alert here. So again, guys, this is just pre-market stuff, that you're running through. So again, those of you that are again that have the course, some of the things that you should have pulled up here that obviously isn't going to show because I can't show you guys all the screens that I have up here for day trading, right? So obviously on one screen I have pretty much what you see right here now, which is, the 9 charts of the main stocks that I'll be looking at. Then you have the markets, which I'm, having up on there like futures market, have like S&P, NASDAQ, all those things so I can kind of get an overall state, bigger picture of the market. Then I have the economic calendar that I'm looking at as far as like what is happening, or that could be coming up like dividends, reportings, news, earnings, IPOs, things like that. Have all that listed there through the TradeUp guys, like a TradeUp app, like I tell you guys to kind of use, which makes it easier. Again, that's all free too. And then I have Trade Ideas loaded, of course, which is the scanner that helps me find stocks. And then of course, you have like Charlie with Bazinga Pro. For like radio, you don't have to do that if you want to, but it just kind of helps me out, just kind of have that background knowledge of what's going on too. And then of course I like to, play this bad boy here. Of course,
Source
the
available from TD.
you know, TD Ameritrade and CNBC News and things like that. But I'm not gonna play it on this because that's gonna interrupt the sound of me doing, the coaching here for you guys and just kind of, walking you through this. But those are usually pretty much all the things that I have on my screen. So I have like the charts, I have the scanner with TD Ameritrade and the alerts, of course, and then I have the economic calendar and the overall market, and then I have the CNBC playing there, all on those 4 screens. You guys can't. Let me see here if I can kind of shift it on over there to you for you to see. But yeah, voila, those 4 screens, and then on my other screens here, you have pretty much the charts of what the stocks I'm looking at. Usually you'll have, like you guys, when I screenshot for you the brokerage that I'm trading in, of course, which is Webull, I'll have the 1 minute and 5 minute chart posted there for you guys to see up in the top and the bottom along with the P&L. On the other side, I'll have it, I'll have like pretty much this is what I'll have. I have the TradingView app as well too pulled up for you guys to, when I'm looking at whatever stock I'm looking at it, probably on this chart and executing on Webull on the other screen. And then the screens above, I just have like, different platforms to probably execute different trades. So that is why I have 8 different screens. But yeah, it's a lot going on, but it seems like it's a lot going on, but it's not really a lot going on as long as you know what you're focusing on at the times, okay? That's really the main thing there. So as of right now, again, as we're going through this, I'm just going to have this stuff here pulled up for you guys, so I can walk you through this, during pre-market. But look at that, it's already 6 o'clock. Time flies. So that's the setup where we're at. And right now, I'm just going to be currently looking at probably PRFX. So let's kind of jump into that one real quick here. That's really the main one I'm looking at now until something else pops off on the alerts. And I'll get different like notifications that helps me confirm like which alert, I'm going to be looking at. But as the alerts come through, I'm just popping them up on the chart, guys. It's really that simple. So like you'll see here, PRFX, Rivian came in, I popped it up on there, RMED, et cetera, et cetera. As they're coming through, I'm pulling them up and I'm looking for a specific pattern to fit my trading strategy of whatever it is I'm going to trade. And again, that's going to be up to you as a trader. Whatever your trading strategy is, whatever you use, it's going to be up to you. So you guys know me, I'm a bullish trader. I'm going to be looking for bullish patterns, which means I'm going to be trying to entering on bearish setups of the bullish patterns. All right. So right now, I mean, let's take a look here. Again, PRFX was the one of the main ones that I'm looking at. So right now, it's not really interesting to me. It is dying off, but I'm still looking at it. Again, this is just pre-market, right? I want to kind of pay attention to what it may be doing the opening bell. Another thing, what I like to do, as I got everything set up and pulled up and I'm looking at the overall aspect of the market and pre-market too, I also like to check to see, who the volume leaders are. Right now, NIO, XPV, NKLA. So these are like the highest, most volume leading, stocks, which aren't interesting. I already looked them up. I mean, if you want to pull them up on the chart, you can, um, if you want to, but all electric vehicle sector, all Chinese manufacturers. The market is very, very slow right now. Normally, when the market's kind of active and things are looking good, you'll see 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, a couple million shares traded before the opening bell. And if you're lucky enough, you're in there, of course, like with the alerts and like that, you probably already, could have banked right then. And obviously, those are going to be the most active ones that people and other traders are going to be looking at throughout the day. Okay. Me personally, right now, I'm not going to look at none of these. Again, Chinese stocks. So they're not, we all know the Chinese stocks are heavily manipulated. But again, if you want to just kind of glance at them, you can. They're all downward trending. Even though the volume is high on these things, that volume is downtrending. So it's not really going to be something that I'm looking at to, look at that. They're all looking the same. XPV, NIO, and what was the other one? Nikola and KLA. Very choppy. All right. So that's why I'm not really, concerned about these right now. But normally, normal market time frame, if the volume leader is there, it could be trending either way. And that would still be one of the ones you want to look at as well too. So again, I'm just kind of focusing on the alerts, um, and seeing where there might be some opportunities. So right now, not much of anything, but doesn't hurt to, be aware. So for those of you that were asking too, like what strategy am I looking at? Repo's just giving me an update. What strategy I'm looking at? It's depends. I mean, again, I'm going to be looking for like, cup and handle patterns. I might be looking for ascending triangles, various different things. And this is the part of studying that you should be doing as a trader to be able to look for those patterns and understand when those opportunities arise where you can capitalize on. Let's take a look at one of the obvious ones, obviously PLM. And PLM was something I was looking at early this morning. Now, right now, volume-wise, this would be probably the more ideal trade because it's above the volume-weighted average price, which is good. Still in a bullish territory. Unlike, the one that I'm looking at again too, PRFX. Right now, it's kind of in the bearish territory. Now they look similar, but they're not. Okay, PLM has a little bit more volume, obviously a little bit thicker candlesticks. However, that price action for PLM is still above the volume weighted average price, which is this yellow line here. Whereas PRFX is bearish. So now look at where we're at with this stock, right? Nothing happened until pre-market and then it popped up and now it's trading, relatively high in pre-market. Now again, this right here might need to be filled, because remember, price was trading right here and then I forgot what the news was. Let me see here. We had it on the alerts. Oh yeah, bid for a takeover, 2 to 1, $2.01 a share. So look at where it's trading now. So you had that catalyst. Sorry, that's PRFX. Let me pull it up, PLM. I don't think PRFX had any kind of news other than the volume spikes. Yeah. Oh yeah, so that PRFX was the reverse split, whereas this one has a catalyst of a bid takeover. And that's, ideal. So, but based on that catalyst, I mean, again, that's one of the checklists that you're going to look at, when it comes to, you know, choosing which stocks to trade. You got, you can take that news however you want to take it. I go over that stuff with you guys in the course, not going to do that here, but you have those two, catalysts there, right? But with PLM, me personally, if I was going to get into this trade, I would want to set my price range if I'm going to be bullish, right? Obviously, you're probably not going to catch it here. You waited for that pullback, which is good. Now, the pullback is showing you that the price is solid around that 174 mark, right? So I may want to have two exit positions. One is going to probably be at the volume weighted average price, and then a little bit after that little candle there, probably around the $140 mark, right? Now, the odds of it getting, that deep is probably slim to none. And if it is, obviously just cut your loss and move on. So from here, you want to measure your risk to reward probably from like the 140 level to like the 180 level, what you're comfortable with losing, what you're comfortable with taking profit at. You should have all this ready before you enter in the trade. Ideally, if I was to get into this trade, probably around the 176-ish area might be good, provided it stays bullish. So you have two ways to kind of measure that risk. You can measure it at that entry point, or you can measure it at another entry point when it turns bearish to wait for another pop for it to go bullish. However you want to do that. Again, it's up to you. Those of you that might trade fibs and things like that might want to use that measurement as a guide, as et cetera, et cetera. Um, and then you got, pretty much the cap out is like $2. It hasn't reached that yet, which, ideally you would think would make sense because, $2.11 a share is what they were kind of, looking at there. So that's a good different range to measure your risk to reward. Again, that's kind of how I would approach this if I wanted to trade it. Volume on is looking pretty light. A good idea to do is to kind of take a look at the level two on this. Let me kind of load this up here, see if I can pull it up real quick. Nope. Let me try to load it up here. And I'm not going to use the level two on trading or not trading view, but TD. As we all know, I mean, TD's level two is not really that great. But yeah, I mean, if you were to use it, kudos to you, but I don't use it. So let me try to switch this over here to kind of get you guys to be able to see this. So here's level two on this bad boy. So as you can see, you got a little bit of a wall here, 195. Everything else is pretty solid for PLM. Um, let's take a look at PRFX. Yeah, not ideal. You might want to check other things like, cash flow, order flow, short interest, things like that that might interest you. But mainly in pre-market, I'm going to be looking at those few things. So again, level two is not looking that great on both sides. The chart is displaying that, obviously. So take it with a grain of salt. But as of right now, I think this area is a safe bet for it. Let me pull it up here real quick. That's just PLM, and that's what I'd be looking for there. Um, so you guys can play off of that. PRFX, if you were interested in that one. Again, I can imagine this could drop and then, try to clear up that cap space of that jump. But other than that, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised for it to, skyrocket. Let's take a look at the stats on this thing here. PRFX, pretty low float, pretty low float. And that is important because that means this thing could turn on a dime, um, at any point, especially if enough volume comes in. Oh, sorry, I clicked on some other things here. All right, let me pull this up here real quick. No, we don't want to do that. Why is that loading up here? I'm just trying to get this pulled up for you guys to see the stats. Give me just a second. Let me load this up here. All right, there we go. All right. So yeah, look at PRFX, guys. Free float, 657,000 million outstanding shares. Let's take a look at PLM, 194 million, 34 million free float. Now that also could too be why it hasn't, you know, changed much with PLM. It's a pretty significant float for a low float stock. That's why I told you guys I'm looking at PRFX more than I am PLM because PLM is pretty solid for the amount of shares, especially during pre-market, whereas PRFX can easily spike up a sport that's more. It's going to be more volatile the more people that are looking at it. Okay, so that's where I'm at with that. But yeah, those are pretty much the things that I'm going to be looking at here so far this morning. We got about 30 minutes until the market opens. Still pretty slow. So that's expected. Again, it's half of the day. And yeah, Tesla's dropping, you know, pretty good market indicator to look at there. But other than that, pretty slow day, guys. Pretty slow day. So PLM is the more safer bet for those of you that are trading, but PRFX has the more profit potential. And you take that however you want. And this is just from, my opinion, not financial advice. So, you know, do what you want. So, yeah, as of right now, we're just going to be, kind of just eyeing these stocks here, guys, keeping the alerts up, seeing what comes through. Rivian is interesting too. I kind of wish I would have caught it down here at this little pullback, but you know, it's going from 17 to 18. It's Rivian, so pretty decent market cap. It's more of a blue chip stock, so you guys know I don't really trade those too much, but they're in a good price range like that. Might be something to just sit there and watch the trend for. Okay, not going to be so much of a momentum play, but more of a trend play. All right. Um, just now, just hit new highs, so there we are with that. Let's take a look at that chart with Rivian real quick. RVN, and they had news, I believe, too. So yeah, it's another good thing I just liked about TradingView too. They kind of post that stuff up there, but yeah. So just kind of talking about their EV production, tripling last quarter. So that's where that movement is coming from. And that news is it's good news. It's not like the most greatest of news, but you know, production versus sales is it seems like a little fluff piece to me, but I don't know why they would mention that. Okay, yeah, we produced more cars. Okay, great, but how much have you sold? You know what I mean? So profitability, folks, is important too. But yeah. So let's just kind of sit back here and if you were to get in Rivian, 1750-ish would be a decent entry. Because I mean, if you look at the history of it so far, I mean, that's not a bad risk to reward ratio. But again, it's just gonna. This is one I would look for a change in. I would trend trade this one. I wouldn't momentum trade this one just because of the amount of shares outstanding. The float, it's like 800 million float. Um, so takes a lot to get it ramped up, and with it being the holiday, I doubt momentum is gonna shoot up there like it normally does. But you got some opportunity for a little bit of gains there. This will be a good trade for you options traders. Now another thing, a couple of traders were asking about too was like when I'm trading too is looking at options like the volatility or unusual option activity, something that I pay attention to. I do when certain stocks fit that criteria, because again, you guys know I trade small caps, so when I do small caps, again, I'm just looking. They're mostly commons, and not a lot of the small caps are going to be optionable. But the ones that are, or if it's something that's relative to the market. For example, if I was trading something like, had the potential to be relative to that, like a battery manufacturer, something like that, and the EV market is taking off, I might, consider that. as a correlation, of course. It could be a sympathy play that you'd want to, keep in mind that could cause it to move. So just little things like that. But for the most part, I'm not looking at options activity or unusual options activity until I know that, hey, a stock that is on my radar that I'm looking at has options or is in correlated to something with options. So keep that in mind, okay? But other than that, yeah, that's pretty much it. So, oh, let me move this over here for you guys to see. All right. Uh, yeah, so here's where we're at now, but PLM, PRFX, pretty much the only ones I'm really looking at. As you're going through and getting alerts too, you can remove stocks off the watch list that aren't interesting to you. Like I may move, obviously I might, gonna move NIO, may move BACK, but that's as other stocks come in and become interesting throughout the day. And we're about 25 minutes from the opening bell, so we got time. So usually if I have this kind of a downtime, um, I'm just planning on how things might change throughout the day, right? So this is just gonna, as you guys see that alert comes in, just kind of giving you the state of the market there of what things are looking like on trade ideas if you guys don't have it. If you are interested in getting trading ideas, guys, let me know. I'll give you a discount code that I get from them. To have it. And I can also send you my trade ideas layout if you want that too, guys. Very good layout. Is the scanner on the trade ideas is very good to me. Personally, I like it. I don't I don't know how I would trade, really well without it. I mean, I can, but it just helps me out. It just gives me that solidified confidence that a stock that I'm looking at is moving or is going to move kind of thing. And if you're not familiar with trade ideas, I'll actually I mean, those of you that have the course kind of know what Trade Ideas is and how it works, but it's basically it's a scanner, and I've customized it to kind of fit, my trading style and momentum trading and things like that. But it's really built for a lot of different things. It has, large cap momentum trade scanner in there. It has, you know, catching small bounces scanner. It has high risk, high reward scanners. It's a lot of different, sectors in there. You guys, as a matter of fact, I stream it live every now and then on the YouTube channel. So if you are interested in looking at how my trade idea setup is, go on over to the YouTube channel, look at some of the real-time trading. The data on there is delayed because, according to trade ideas, I'm not allowed to stream it real time. So it is delayed. Obviously, those of you guys that are in the courses or, are subscribed to the alerts, you get that real time. And I'm working on actually being able to solidify that to stream that real time for us as well too. It's just it's a lot to maneuver all at once. And again, you guys know me, I actually trade, so I'm not focused on video production and video quality and YouTube trading, all this stuff here. It's a lot to deal with. I see why these YouTube personalities and gurus have all these, tech people that does all their stuff for them because it is a lot of work to do. But as we get closer to like midsummer into summer, I'm going to be able to put it into the um, alerts channel and just let it stream for you guys who are subscribed. That way you can kind of have that to look at as well too if you have more than one screen. So, um, but this right here that we're looking at for pre-market setup, guys, this is generally what I'm doing every morning coming into the market. Now, obviously, of course, you can take some shortcuts. You can just look at what's coming on, what's in the alerts, because those are usually going to be the ones that are moving anyway. You know what I mean? And for the most part, if I do like wake up late or if I, you know, oversleep or something like that, I'm not pulling up the economic calendar. I'm not pulling up, the markets and nothing like that. I'm jumping straight into the alerts, and then I'm looking at the stocks that are already being alerted and looking to see entry points and exit points. That's if you want to take the shortcut way. But and then of course, as I'm doing that, looking to see if there's any possible entries for one of the three setups that I like to trade. Um, there's no right or wrong way to do this, guys. You got to just do what's best for you. So. But this is just how I operate. Again, that's just taking the shortcut route. And then I'll go into like seeing, hey, how is the market looking today? How is, what's coming up on the calendar? What can I be anticipating is like Amazon report earnings or something like that. Um, little things like that. So once we kind of do all that, and let me post this little link here for you guys too. to have that in the groups so you can see that. Let me pull it up here. Let me refresh this because I am streaming it now live as well too. And we'll do it on this because Zoho seems to be messing up. But if it doesn't, then we'll be fine there. So let me pull this up here. All right, we are looking good. But yeah, so pretty much from this point on, we're just going to be kind of looking at the market until something moves. Um, yeah, yeah. And last thing too, guys, when it comes to the opening bell, well, again, my rule of thumb is just to not be in any trade opening bell. So as of right now, like normally, especially for like the last few days, if you guys go back look into some of the posts on Facebook group, guys, I'm only doing like 1 or 2 trades a day. As you can see here right now, all I'm doing is sitting here looking. That's it. Nothing. There's nothing for me to jump into. Was a small opportunity with Rivian, but not really interested in that kind of setup. But doesn't hurt to look. PLM is still just kind of stagnant at the moment. See, it's just grinding along, which is good. I mean, because come opening bell, we might see some action and some movement there. But other than that, yeah, nothing else is really interesting to me. Um, let's see here. And PRFX. That's it. This is why you guys see me take 1 or 2 trades a day. Other traders you might follow, you might see them in 1 trade or 2. I mean, if the market's hot, you guys know before, when the market's hot, I'll be in like 2 or 3 trades, sometimes 2 at a time, rarely three at a time. But when it's average days and slow, kind of like this, I'm just taking 1 trade and looking for the nail in the bell. If it's looking good and I'm in it, and it's following along the lines of what I was shooting for, I'm gonna let the trade ride out till it dies out. That's it. If it's not, nail and bail. No need to sit around and wait. If another opportunity comes up, then go ahead and jump in. But other than that, don't be afraid to take your profits, guys. Some of you are gonna get. You guys got to remember that compounding is very important when it comes to trading. Okay, um, very very important. Many people often try to hit for home runs, but promise you, base hits are much more easier because once you're in, you can go ahead and just steal second and steal third and just go home. I mean, it's much easier than trying to swing for the fences, guys. Much easier. So, but yeah, it's pretty much where we're at. So right now, what we'll do is mainly the three I'll keep an eye on is PRFX, PLM, and Rivian on the side. Everything else is not really that interesting. Let me just pull up a pre-market watch list. I have no idea what is going on with this stream either, guys. So good thing I am recording this, so I'll just post it on the YouTube channel if you want to watch it later. But kind of compare what I'm looking at to what you're looking at, what the notes are, and things like that. Let me pull up this. So guys, it's much easier to have different screens and different monitors to be able to not have to jump in and out of different things. So like again, I'd have this up on one screen. I'd have the alerts and the scanner on another screen. Then I'll have my platform on another screen. The background noise, like the radio and the markets overall. Then I'll have my charting on the other 2 screens. That's really how my setup is, and again, just makes it much more easier. Do you need that many screens and stuff like that? No. But does it help me? Yeah, it does. It does. It just makes it much more easier because I can know what's going on in the market and I got confirmation on, what I need to do. That's just it. So, but again, as you're a more experienced trader and you're putting that screen time, you'll develop that. So a few key things too that a lot of new traders don't understand is that there's going to be a few things that cannot be taught to you no matter how many YouTube videos you watch, no matter how many books you read, things that you can't be taught as far as being successful traders. So compounding. We can teach, you can be taught the, importance of compounding, but you got to understand as a trader, that is only going to happen time and time again as you're, in the market and your wins are outweighing your losses. Your money does need to compound for you to be able to, make the bigger gains. And even then, that's going to have a limit. Now, obviously, if you're trading something large caps and stuff like that, that's fine. But your compounding could probably only, move but so long if you're starting with a small account, especially. And then it's vice versa. If you have a small account and you're trading with like, small caps like I do just to grow your account much quicker, understand that there's only going to be so much you can trade to before you start to affect the market. Like let's say for example, we had a low flow stock that had, you know, 100 or just say it has, 20 million free flow, right? If you're coming in there with like a $50,000 trade, $100,000 trade, you're gonna skew some psychology in other traders and execute, have them execute different things that could sway the market of that or the way that stock is moving. So understand that too. There is going to be your limitations with small caps as well. I hear a lot of times people say, "Oh, if you're so good or if you know where the market is going to move and all that good stuff, why don't you just put all your money in there?" First and foremost, I know if you say some dumb mess like that to me, I know you don't know what you're talking about or don't even know how to trade, so, because obviously, you know, you're gonna make ways if you're throwing $1 million in one trade. Yeah, that's gonna make a big of a difference, buddy. It's a small cap, so come on. But anyways, yeah, so that's the answer behind that. You can only move it but so much, especially with small caps, before you start to affect the way the outcome might actually be. Um, but yeah, so compounding is one of the things that you can't be taught. Another thing is screen time. So when I started trading, I was so bent on like executing this trade, executing that trade, growing my account, blah blah blah. You guys gotta understand, screen time is something you can't rush. Okay, that's just gonna happen over time. So just being patient and focus on one aspect of it at a time. Okay, spend a week, a month, 2 weeks, whatever you need, looking at maybe just level two, till you get familiar with it. Spend a couple weeks looking at patterns, looking for one specific pattern till you get good at it. Things like that. Um, Rivian is touching a new high right now, real quick, so might be might be interesting. Come opening bell to look at that. Let's go ahead and pull these charts up real quick. All right, give me a quick second here, guys. Just all right, and then I forgot what the third thing was. So compounding, screen time. Oh, and just your personality as far as like your trading personality. No guru is gonna be able to teach you to find your place in the market. Um, that's really like three of the things that I wish I would have known as a beginning trader. That is going to be very important as far as your development as a trader. And these things, all three of these things, definitely takes time. Because even your personality changes as you become a trader, guys. If you take Trader Me now versus Trader Me 5, 6, 7 years ago, totally different people. And I was one of those ones that thought like, especially when I read a couple books about like how traders were like changing their lifestyle to, things like that. I thought that was nonsense. I'm like, okay, they're just trying to feed some BS to stall on making this book a little bit more longer pages. But as you're deeper into the markets and you're sticking with it, you kind of see like, oh, shoot, they were right. I do got to change this habit. I do got to change that habit. I got to do this. I got to do that. And that just it reflects like how you are in life too, which is crazy. So, but yeah, I mean, those are some little tidbits for you guys. So those of you who are like constantly using in the market, stuff like that, you're not seeing the profits that you want to see. Understand it is part of the game, okay? And I really wish somebody would have told me that. I think if I would have learned that, I would have been probably a little bit more, I guess, optimistic as far as sticking with trading. I took, a couple of breaks a while because, I just years after years of losing, it gets very frustrating. Trust me, very, very frustrating. I know. Especially when you're seeing like other people's, success and things like that. You're wondering when your breakthrough is coming through, if it ever does come through, because it is possible that you won't become good, But unfortunately, that's just part of the game. But, those who do stick it out end up doing pretty good. So, and even you guys know, I don't even think I'm that great of a trader. Yeah, I make six figures doing it, but where I live at, it's not really that great. I mean, everyone makes six figures where I live at. So, but still, for someone else that could be life changing. Like I said, if I always tell myself, like if I live like back home where I'm from, I'd be living like a king. But unfortunately, I'm just average. But for someone else, if you can learn this stuff and, over time, if you enjoy it, it's not a good little, even a good little side hustle to have. I mean, everyone should be financially savvy to a certain extent, especially if you're going to live in this country, in my opinion. But, I get it. Money is boring. Making it sometimes is even more boring than having it. But yeah, so, but anyways, we got 10 minutes till the market opens. That's my little tips for you guys before we get into this. So again, as we do this here, so I'll probably keep this going for about maybe 30 minutes to an hour into the open. Won't be hanging around too long because again, it's half a day. I'm probably not going to get into a trade today. I really just wanted to kind of coach you guys on this, just opening up on how the day today operations are when you're trading and what helps me set myself up to be successful in the market. That's really it. And then I'll probably walk through one or two trades in the beginning. So that's what I wanted to do here today for you guys, butter free on the half day. But the rest of the week, that ain't happening until I get some of this stuff, routine and set up for you guys, and I'll start to be able to stream it live more often. What I'm gonna have to do is buy like a separate terminal just so that you guys can be able to watch and all that good stuff, um, and have it not interfere with my actual trading. Then we'll be good to go. But again, that won't happen till like maybe August-ish, maybe I want to say the earliest. It's been a very busy year. 2023 has been a very busy year for me, as you guys can see. Um, yeah. So here's what we're gonna do, right? We got about 8 minutes until the opening happens. What's gonna happen is when the bell rings, I'm gonna refresh the percentage gainers of the day, all right, to see what's moving up and what's not. We're gonna have the alerts pulled up. We're gonna watch what's coming through, and we're gonna go from there. Listening to Bazinga Charlie, there's not much news flying through. You also have like these little news tickers here too for from TD if you guys don't know. And a lot of times, well, not a lot of times, but sometimes, these might be the same, you know, news articles that might pop up on the alerts, but usually the alerts get them quicker. Let's see here. So like you see here, it has like the Rivian stock and what's going on with that. The tricky thing with that little news source, because I know some of you guys were asking me with that, is that it derives excuse me, derive sources from like all these places that might not be relevant to what you want to, look at. And that's just honestly noise and nonsense. You don't need to have all that stuff in there. So again, with the alerts, we focus on small caps, $1 to $20, and what propels those bad boys to move. Every now and then we'll get some big caps when they're very important, but you know, if they're not, then we just keep it moving. So this is pretty much the setup here. And obviously my TD chart looks very, very plain. That's just because I'm just looking here on this portion for the chart setup. Because you guys were asking as well too, like, hey, how come on your TD setup you don't have the lines, the EMAs, and the moving averages, and the super trends, and etc., all on your um, TD Ameritrade chart? Well, that's because I'm not using that for my entries and exits. I'm using these charts here to look for a setup. Okay. Um, Once I see the setup forming or it's in a good position to where I think I have a good risk to reward ratio, then I'm going to touch on, my platform that I'm going to execute on, which again is going to be either Webull or when you have interactive brokers or Centerpoint, Lightspeed, et cetera, et cetera. Then I'm going to jump on there and start to look for, the moving averages, the, vortex indicators, the squeeze pros, et cetera, et cetera. Making sure I'm getting in at a good point. Um, so that's what that is for, guys. And it just makes it much more easier, cuts out the noise because when you're selecting what stocks you're going to trade, for me, it's a filter, right? I'm filtering through all the noise. So first I want to see chart setups. So it could be 3 or 4 stocks setting up the way that I look at. Then I'm going to look into things like the statistics, which one has like a lower float, et cetera, et cetera. Um, what's the range look like? High points, low points of the day, all-time highs, all-time lows, et cetera, filtering those out. Then I'm looking at, other things like, what does level 2 look like? Is there walls there, et cetera, et cetera? Then I'm mentioning down some more. So I have my little checklist that I go through, and it just, makes it much more easier to decide when I'm going to enter and exit. Then once I kind of got that decision, like, hey, this is the stock I need to be looking at and focusing on, then that's when everything else is up to me. The trading strategy, the execution, the psychology of what I do, um, and that's pretty much it. Okay. So right now, let's see here. Really, I mean, Rivian is kind of like the only interesting one. If I get in Rivian, I might just hold that bad boy for a minute if it was me. Um, $18 might be a good entry point. Right now it's at 17.90. Let's pull it up here on TradingView. We got 5 minutes till the bell opens here. All right, so we're going to get a little bit of a pullback coming up here. As you can see, the vortex indicator is showing that the trend is going to be um, pulling back some more. And of course, there's no momentum there on the squeeze pro indicator, so it's probably going to start to come down a little bit more. So let's look out for that. This point here, you might have a pretty decent entry. Um, Once it begins to peak up there at high at the high level there for the vortex indicator, and it starts to fade off, then I'm going to want to try to enter in. All right. That's just me, in my opinion, how I would look at that. And as you can see, quickly these things can change because remember, all these indicators that you guys are looking at and using, they're all lagging indicators, guys. The only thing that's going to be a leading indicator or close to something as a leading indicator is going to be your level 2. And that, to a certain extent, is going to guide or mislead you depending on um, other traders. So, yeah, keep that in mind. All this stuff here is lagging, which means it can't show up on the chart until it's already happened. Once it's already happened, you're too late. Okay. Right now, with Rivian, we got a little bit of a wall there at $18.12. So watching that break there is going to be a little bit significant. So keep that in mind. But yeah, so you guys, I don't want you. My thing is don't get caught up too much on these indicators. Okay, stop thinking there's a magic indicator. Stop thinking there's a secret strategy because it's not. It's not. It's all about price action and it's all about managing risk, really. Strategies are there and they're great, yes, but literally no strategy is going to be 100% foolproof. Market changes all the time, okay? Um, and that's what a lot of places and gurus and people won't tell you is that the markets do change all the time. Some things are consistent, right? Some things are always happening, but that's what you as a day trader are supposed to identify and be able to capitalize on. And that's why they have things like the pattern day trading rule, because they know that there's patterns in the market that consistently happen. If the average person knows this, they could really capitalize on it, quite frequently. But again, it's very difficult. It's not easy. It takes a lot of studying, a lot of practicing, a lot of executing, and a lot of discipline. So keep that in mind. But let's get ready here. We got about 2 minutes. Let me go ahead and get everything refreshed here. Make sure we are looking good. So that's my little tidbit for the day, guys. You get to listen to me ramble on for an hour. Once this bell ring, probably going to be a little bit quiet because I'm going to be watching everything. Hopefully you are following along. Remember, it is a half day, so keep that in mind, okay? All right, so let's take a look here. Let me get all this pulled up. All right, real quick. We got about 1 minute till the bell opens. Here we go. All right, let's see where we're at. Okay. Oh, PRFX. Rivian is at 18. That's a good entry right there. PLM is looking good. If you're in that bad boy. Okay, so if I was you guys right now, I would long PLM. Now would be a good time to do so. Let me see if I can pull this up here real quick on my end. And you could really essentially just scalp this thing. Just hold it for a second. All right. Let me look at the day, because PLM is going to be the one that's, you know, most looked at by the traders right now. So if you're in that bad boy, go into it. I'm not gonna jump into it because I'm not trading today. Gonna try to restrain myself. I'm just coaching today. All right. But PLM is the one you want to focus on. Let me zoom in this bad boy for you here. So it's at 192. Now PRFX is one that I might be curious of entering. I might get in that one. I'm trying to restrain myself from trading, guys. It's just so tempting. But you know what? Ow. Sorry. I think I might go ahead and get into it. Let me pull it up here real quick. I'd want to enter in at $7. Let's see if we can make that happen, or as close to 7 as I can. Let me pull it up here for you guys real quick. So you got probably wondering like, what's the setup I'm looking at with PRFX? Well, obviously we got the top here at $7.70, right? But look what our support level's at. Good around 6.15. If I enter in at $7, I mean between those two, that's almost like a one-to-one, risk to reward ratio, which isn't too bad, especially if you have wiggle room to work with. So let me pull this up here real quick. Try to enter in that trade while I'm here with you guys. And who knows, I might need to cut this loss. All right, so I'm in at 691 there. All right, pull up PRFX. There we go. Rivian's still looking good for those of you that are in that bad boy. Now see, here's a tricky part with PRFX. Starting to pull back a little bit more, but we could be looking for this to be establishing a new level of support there. Because again, it's not coming off of like the greatest of news, but still some news regardless. Let me load this up here. Volume is very light. Not liking that, but sometimes you got to be patient. You never know when that pop can go through. But again, sticking to your strategy. So my exit strategy with PRFX would be probably around the 630-ish mark. I'll start to look for, a break there. Okay. Um, Level 2 right now is looking pretty decent. The only really wall you have is at about 730. Okay. Um, so, that's just something to kind of keep in mind as you're watching it. I have no idea what's going on with the EV sector today. Tesla's up, Lucid's up, XPV, NKLA, Rivian. I have no idea what's happening. Um, I didn't look at those. Rivian's almost at $19, so if you're in that bad boy, kudos. Like I said, watching that pre-market, the break of that pre-market high was key. And look where it's at now. Okay, so let's see here. Still nothing's happening. Still light action. Normally that bell rings, ding ding ding, things start flying out the gate. Right now, we are a little slow. Oof, look at that drop. Look at that drop. Let's see if it hits that. Let's see if it hits that point, that that break even point. I mean, not break even, but that stop loss. Let me pull it up here real quick. And now look at this long candlestick here. So it is a good chance. See, like I was telling you, it was gonna probably refill here. It's gonna probably have to refill all this, and this was a big gap, right? 630 level. Didn't I tell you guys at the 630 level? Look at that. Let me draw this little line here for you. So let's continue to watch this. This will be interesting because it looks like there's another level of support at the 548, and it's just now having the vortex indicator to cross, so the trend is just now setting up. So we'll see how far down this thing can go. I'm mad that I didn't get the trading thing pre-market for you guys. So, but hey, this is a half day. Can't be too upset. So this is a good example too of a failed cup and handle. As you guys can see here, boom, break. Let's see if we could take a look at it here. Pulls up, pulls back, pulls up, and breaks. Then I showed you guys that in the course when going over the cup and handle example. Prime example again, live real time, you can see that. So another thing too with a cup and handle when it breaks like that, that could be excuse me, that could be a good instance to go long after that failed break because a lot of times, depending on where you're at in the market, with a failed break like that, could cause buyers to step in. However, you want to make sure that the trend is actually changing. And that's when you want to look at part of the indicators of showing you that, hey, it is, happening. And look at that. See, it looks like traders had their eyes on this and some buyers are stepping in, getting it in at that price. However, if you look at level two, might be a little bit too much resistance. I mean, there's some at 690. And again, that's about right about where we got into this bad boy at. So you guys get to watch me, you know, lose some money in real time here. So lucky you. Excuse me. Very, very rare instance. But also to keep in mind, I am, as a matter of fact, let me do this here. I'm within this channel. So my position is right here. And this this is exactly like what my thing is. Let me pull it up. So I'm in, at that range. I told you guys stop loss is going to be around 630. My stop loss a little bit around here would be my first warning, which again is below the volume weighted average price, but not so much that it's below the actual, um, initial pop up. Profit take, I'd want to take probably around this level, which is again going to be the first high. However, if more buying power stepping in and it's breaking it, I'm gonna let it ride. That's what I would do. A quick, easy one-to-one risk to reward ratio. Again, possibly that could be wrong. So you make sure that when you're in these kind of trades that you're trading it with the level that you can be okay with losing. And remember, you're going to be losing consistently as a new trader. So if you're trying to maximize your trade opportunities, make sure you're losing within the amount you know, like, hey, I'm probably not going to get this back because you're probably not going to get it back. But another thing too that I think helps a lot of traders is knowing that when you execute your buy order, your sell order, it's like an auction. You know, um, if you want to buy XYZ Corporation at, you know, $6 a share, somebody's going to have to say, hey, I'll sell you mine at $6 a share. If you understand the auctions and how auctions work, you'll be able to understand price action much easier. Look at Rivian going to 19. Shout out to those of you who are getting in that bad boy or who were in that bad boy. All right, so we're looking good there. Oh, look at that. The alert for it just came through too. RNLX looking pretty decent for those of you who are holding. And then let's pull up Vine here because squeeze is done. That alert's coming through. Oh, AHI is halted. Let's take a look at that. We might have some action here. Someone in the chat room said to look at JBOY. All right, let's look at it. Hmm, that is interesting. All right, so guys, I'm probably gonna cut this PRFX. It's not looking good. Now remember the moving average has gotta convert here. I don't know if I want to hold it through this because I mean we're right at that level, you know what I mean? Like we're right there. $6 for sure is the immediate stop because that's almost a dollar entry, which would be almost, 8%. 590 for sure. I'm cutting it. I'm not waiting that long. Um, I don't want to rush this trade either. I want to kind of let it play out while waiting at the others. But we're close to that 630. That might be the best I can probably see it move for a minute. Um, JLBY looks good. It's not a lot of volume. Tesla's at a high. Ooh, it just sucks because there's not much happening right now. Those of you that are RNLX, it's profit take time. It was on the watch list. If you ain't take it now, you're just being greedy. Ugh. We are 15 minutes into the open and not much has happened. AAHI is halted on low volume, guys, so don't get too caught up on it. Look at where we're at. All right, so we're right at that stop loss, guys. 615, 630. So again, $1 risk to reward ratio. If we're in at 690, 590 is going to be that immediate stop. It looks like it's trying to light up here with the moving averages. But I'm going to tell you, I'm not expecting it to just shoot on up here at this point. Look for a few different things, right? It's beneath the value weighted average price, so it's already in bearish territory. I kind of got in this entry a little early, but not too upset. Only down a couple hundred, so you guys know my win records are great, but it always stings to lose a little bit. But it just keeps you humbled, keeps you humbled. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll look. Someone in the chat room said to analyze Vine. I don't know why this thing's moving. Nothing. Did anything recent pop up? Check the alerts. Yeah, this is just momentum right here. Not sure what it's stimulating from, but it's just pure momentum. Best thing to do would be to wait for a setup here with Vine if you plan on that, because right now it's going to pull back. The trend is starting to change at this point, so give it a little time. Where are we? PRFX. While we're still in that trade. Man, trying to coach you guys through this and then doing it at the same time is very, very difficult. 591. All right, time to go ahead and get out. We're done. Oops, sorry. Now that 590 is probably the best entry you would probably get for a bullish trade of PRFX. Would you want to hold it here if you were still in it at 690 and try to average down? You could, um, provided you were scaling into the trade. But understand that when you scale into this trade, coming out on the other side bullishly, you're gonna have to take your profits much quicker. Because let's say if you entered in at 590, right? Or let's just say you started in like, 630 and you scaled in and got in at 590. As it's starting to come around, you're gonna have to, you know, chip it away at it because you're selling on the bullish side, right? So keep that in mind. Um, I am going to be looking at anything else. Another halt with AHI. That's pretty scary, actually. All right. So with PRFX, if it doesn't, you know, break above probably the level that we need to, I'm gonna go ahead and take that loss and just move on. AHI is low volume, but it's looking interesting with the price action the way it is since it's been halted twice. Other than that, not really looking at too much. Nothing else is really happening. Um, so let's kind of see here where we're gonna happen with this change in momentum in PRFX. Yep, it's enough here to make you fall asleep at the desk. But this is what trading is, guys. All of you that think that it's just this all buy, 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 sell, 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 blah, blah, blah. It's not. Unfortunately, don't let Wall Street fool you. Hmm. Another thing I want to look at too with you guys. Oh, all right. See, this right here is a key example here with this candlestick. It's time to go ahead and take profits. That's showing you that there's no strength in it and it's dying out. Buy orders are getting executed, now sellers are coming back in. So let's go ahead and take this L real quick. And we're going to look at AHI. My computer is running so slow with this streaming. I hate it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and jump in uh, AHI here in a second. The reason why I'm jumping in here is because it's coming off the halt. It's now open again, low volume. Now volume is starting to tick up. Level 2 on it did look decent, but keep in mind, guys, this isn't revenge trading. Even though I just took that little loss there on um, PRFX, so look at that. Already forgot it that quick. You gotta have a short memory in this. Even though I took that loss on PRFX, I'm only getting AHH. Not to revenge trades because I like this setup coming off this halt. Level 2 look good. It's at a good amount to where it can still run. Looking at the vortex indicator, the trend is still there. It's still high up on the Squeeze Pro. Nothing's turning back just at the moment. So I'm going to let this try to ride out here for a little bit. And I'm scaling into this trade right now. Scaling in, scaling in. Now keep in mind, I was down, what, 300? Yeah, down $360 for the day. Got some resistance at 650. So their news wasn't recent. So this could be a fake, but it's recirculating. So the halt level on here is going to be 669. We'll see how much this gets close to it. The AHI. All right, now it's starting to hit the sell orders. It's coming off the exponential moving average. You can't see it on here, but you could see it if you had like, Webull pulled up or something like that, and you had that indicator on there. It's getting even closer to the volume weighted average price. It's a big red candle. AHI is right down here. Coming off that halt, I'm still waiting to enter in on that pullback with AHI. Depending on how much it pulls back here. Let's see, let's see. Do I have an entry yet? Guys have to remember the market makers have to, find balance, right? So all these buyer orders are coming in, someone has to sell their shares, right? So they're going to move the markets to find that balance, okay? So I'm going to just wait for those buyers to get bought in. I'm waiting to enter in on the sell side so that those guys that are selling are going to sell it to me at a great price that a good price that I could buy it at. Now, right now, sellers are coming in hot. Let them come in. Let them drag the prices down to where they want. Right now, we're at oh, are we halted again? We're halted at 658. I'm sorry, 568. I wanted to get in. Oh, it is a slow day. We're 30 minutes into this. 30 minutes in, I'm only in one trade. Terrible day, guys. Terrible day. No, I'm just kidding. It's not terrible. Gotta be patient. Got to be more careful. Ooh. All right, let's see here. I mean, ideally, let's take a look at this too, guys. Let me. Oops, sorry. This keeps popping up here. That's why you don't chase. But I want to look into getting into AHI. Once the halt resumes and it starts to show some decency. But let's take a look at the level 2 while it's halted. Okay. Let me load this up here. So $5 asking level bids at $7. So we're at 568. Can expect some pullback. Got some key levels right there. You see more is building up here on the sell side. But yeah, we'll watch for that pullback. That's why I waited, you know. Like I said, I wanted to get into it, but it's halted, halted, halted. It's gonna have to fill up. We're gonna see it fill up again, probably in a second here. And then I'm gonna start to look for an entry point. Rivian is still climbing. Told you guys the it's small, but it's climbing. I mean, it's a little bit of a, you know, movement, but not bad. I can expect that thing to trend throughout the day. All right, AHI is open. Might look to enter in here at this point. 575. Okay, I'm liking that candle, so I'm gonna go ahead and get into this bad boy. And then at 571. There we go. What I like about this with AHI, let me zoom in for you guys. This candle here is price action, speaking volumes. It's showing me that there's support right here. Wish I could make it bigger. But we all know that candle, that hammer candle right here. And it's at a good part from where it originally gapped up, which means this has to all fill. Okay. So there it is. All right, let's see. Mm, not looking good. Just had the super trend pop up. All right, this is frustrating because we are catching two L's today. But hey, it happens. Not often, but it happens. You're not going to catch the bottom, guys. Remember, you got to have leeway for yourself to be in the red sometimes. especially after you execute your trade. All right, I'm back even now. So see, now let's see if we have this pop here. Do, 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 do. The reason why I didn't exit out too, guys, is because I have confirmation on the 5 minute level. Look how it looks versus 1 minute level. So yeah, just a little dip within it. And that's why it's important to have two different time frames when you're trading, so that you get confirmation on the wider picture, the bigger scale, and you know whether or not it's good to take your exits and cut your losses, or hang on because it was just a little bit of a dip within the overall picture. When you worry about cutting your losses too soon, or taking profits too quickly, look for that second chart for confirmation. The pattern should be following. The price action should be following, indicating like, hey, might continue to go up, or hey, good chance we're going down for the rest of the day. You'll get that in your confirmation. So yeah, might need to switch it up in short today. Let me take a look at the overall market. Oh, I didn't even realize the market's dropping. That's probably why things are looking bad. Let me go ahead and cut this loss real quick. Screenshot that bad boy for you guys. What are we down? There we go. All right, let's go ahead and close that out real quick. So, we might need to flip the script here today, guys. I might have to put my bear hat on. All right, so let's do this here. We're going to look for stocks to short exclusively, something that I don't do. All right. Um, a lot of things are popping and dropping in the small cap sector. So first and foremost, we want to make sure that whatever broker we're using is going to have shares available to short. And of course, you need a margin account to be doing that. So I might need to jump on that part. And then We are going to start shorting these stocks. Where we at? 2 trades a day so far. I'm gonna do one more trade and then I'm gonna call it a day. Now, to find good stocks to short, it's pretty simple. Follow the uphill action because the way it kind of works when stocks are falling, it's harder for them to bounce back up unless they have some significant good news right afterwards. However, with shorting stocks, it's easier to find ones that are running off of good news and then bet against them, especially if they're trashy stocks. But also, too, keep in mind that depending on your broker, too, like that, you might be limited on being able to short if a stock has gone up a certain percentage amount. Okay. And I think every broker is different. So keep that in mind. Let's take a look here. All right, guys, let me go take a break real quick. I gotta run to the bathroom. And then we'll come back to it. Might need to just make me a full-blown snack too. All right, guys, let's take a quick break and we'll come back to this boring market here in a second, okay? And then probably close out these positions and see where we're at. Get ready for the brief intermission.